but an attitude at the negotiation table that Canada is a subsidiary of the United States. The Canadian industry is going to be disadvantaged relative to American industry. That we're going to set up terms so that over time, Canadian industry is going to face constant headwinds. That's not something we're going to accept.
Right now, in the middle of the worst trade rupture in North American history, Canada is openly discussing something no US ally has ever done: cutting off the electricity. Ontario's grid currently supplies an estimated 1.5 million American homes and businesses across the US, Midwest, and Northeast, and the province has used that leverage once before, imposing a 25% surcharge on power sold to Michigan, Minnesota, and New York. This week, with tensions boiling over, a full cutoff is reportedly back on the table. The trigger is happening right now. Washington's 50% tariffs on roughly $20 billion of Canadian goods took effect Saturday, the first ever use of a century-old trade law called Section 338. President Trump has also threatened to push tariffs on Canadian vehicles, auto parts, and steel to 50% starting next year. Canada's retaliation lands September 8th, and in Hamilton this week, Ontario Premier Doug Ford made clear nothing is off the table before it does.
If President Trump escalates, Canada needs to be ready to do the same. Everything needs to be on the table. We need to use Canada's many points of leverage to create maximum impact, targeting deep red states and making sure that America's economy feels the pain.
Electricity may only be the opening move. Canadian officials are now openly discussing surcharges or outright restrictions on heavy crude oil, potash, uranium, and rare earth minerals, resources the US depends on and cannot quickly replace. Canada supplies roughly 60% of America's crude oil imports and the vast majority of its potash. Cutting off any one of them would ripple through US refineries, gas prices, and farms almost immediately. "200 miles south, in Washington, the man responsible for the American side of this fight sounded like none of it worried him. US Trade Representative Jamieson Greer met reporters on the White House driveway Monday and dismissed the entire standoff.
I think this is a little bit of a tempest in a teapot. The tariffs went into place over the weekend, which we warned about for a long time. They only cover about 5% of Canadian trade and only 0.06% of U.S. overall consumption. So we'll see. I mean, we're just moving forward with our trade policy as intended.
That confidence looks harder to justify once you add up what's actually being weighed. A power cutoff to 1.5 million Americans, restrictions on the crude that feeds US refineries, and limits on the potash American farmers depend on for fertilizer. For now, Prime Minister Mark Carney has held back from going that far himself, calling reliability Canada's brand. But patience is visibly running thin inside his own government. As September 8th approaches, the gap between Washington calling this a tempest in a teapot and Ontario openly discussing switching off the lights is exactly what's set to collide. Ford, for one, has already said where he stands.
Canada did not start this fight, but we're prepared to win it. Team Canada needs to stand united, stand up to this attack on our economy, use our leverage to protect our workers, and make clear to President Trump that Canada is not for sale.